People are fascinated when they hear stories about the paranormal, especially when the story is actually based upon true events that have happened. This exact fascination that humans have gave birth to a franchise of movies that were made in Hollywood and became box office shatterers. Not only did they earn millions of profits, they also made people curious. Every film in the Conjuring franchise was promoted as films based on actual events, and this made people go crazy. After the release of the franchise's first film, The Conjuring, a particular doll's story started to become popular. The doll is believed to be one of the most haunted and dangerous objects in the world. The doll has a dark history behind its origin, and it will send shivers down your spine. The doll still exists in the US, housed safely in the Occult Museum, owned and founded by the late Ed and Lorraine Warren, who were one of the world's leading paranormal investigators who investigated the case of the most dangerous doll in the world, the Annabelle. Misfortune is said to shroud itself on people who disrespect the doll. There have been instances when people who mocked the Annabelle were found dead under mysterious circumstances. Hello to all the curious bees out there. Now sit back, plug in your earphones, and relax as we go back in time to experience the origin of the most haunted and dangerous doll in Earth, the Annabelle. The story of Annabelle began in the year 1971 when a young nursing student, Donna, received a rag doll as a gift for her 28th birthday from her mother. Donna's mother, who found the doll in a hobby store, thought of gifting it to her daughter for her 28th birthday since it would make a nostalgic present to her daughter, who was no more a little girl. Donna received the doll and happily placed it at a particular spot in her home. Donna was also living along with another friend of hers named Angie in the house, and the girls used to mischievously play with the doll. You know, typical things that girls do. The doll seemed pretty normal in the beginning, but started its sinister act slowly. For instance, one day when Donna and Angie returned home from studying, they found Annabelle lying on the floor. Now, Donna was pretty sure that she had placed Annabelle on a chair before leaving the home. But she thought that she had forgotten about it, maybe. But slowly, the magnitude of Annabelle's sinister acts began rising. The movements of the doll began to increase. When Donna placed Annabelle on her bed while leaving home, she would return home only to find Annabelle lying on the couch. Whenever their friend Lou visited them at their house, he sensed that something was off with the doll and warned his friends against having it at their house because he thought the doll was possessed by a spirit. The girls, however, brushed these off aside. They did not believe in the paranormal and were looking at the issue with a progressive mind. However, Annabelle wasn't happy with what Lou told his friends. Annabelle liked Donna and Angie since they showered love on it. Annabelle decided to express her disappointment with their friend Lou and express her feelings. One day, the girls returned home as usual when they found notes strewn all over the place. Donna picked a couple of them off the floor, and the notes read, "Help Lou, help us." Donna and Angie were shocked to see these notes, but as always, calmed themselves thinking that it was someone pranking them. But things were going to get much more horrific. One day, Donna and Angie found Annabelle fully covered in blood. The hands of the doll were literally covered with actual blood. The girls started freaking out. The girls and their friend then decided to bring a psychic to evaluate the doll and find out if something paranormal is actually attached to it. The psychic heard the things Annabelle had done and examined the doll. The psychic then told Donna and Angie that the land on which their apartment complex was built used to be a field. A young girl aged around 7 years old was found dead many years before on this very same patch of land. When the doll came into the apartment, Annabelle's spirit was still in the area in which she died, and because she was fond of the doll, her spirit became one with it. Annabelle became Annabelle the doll. Unfortunately for the girls, Annabelle became Annabelle the haunted doll. But Donna and Angie were sympathetic and decided to keep the doll with them and continue to love the dead girl's spirit with all their heart. But things were going to take a turn for the worst. Lou and Angie were spending some time together at the house when they heard some movements from Donna's room. But Donna wasn't actually in the house at the time. Lou and Angie opened Donna's room and caught Annabelle in the act. They saw the doll moving. Terrified and shocked beyond words, Lou moved closer to the doll in an attempt to catch hold of it. A few steps forward, Lou felt immense pain on his chest. When he pulled over his shirt, there were bloody claw marks all over it. It looked as if he had been scratched by a wild animal with its claws. Miraculously, and adding more fuel to the fire, the wounds surprisingly disappeared without a trace in just 2 days. The group of friends then decided it was time to call over paranormal experts to bring closure to this menace. This is when a priest, along with the infamous Warrens, were brought to examine the doll. Ed and Lorraine Warren, a couple who had solved hundreds of paranormal cases before, started to examine the doll. What they were about to reveal would shock Angie, Donna, and Lou. It would be much horrifying than what the psychic had told them. Ed and Lorraine revealed to the group of friends that Annabelle, the doll, was not possessed by any spirit of a young girl. Before the friends could let out a breath of relief, the Warrens broke the ice. They told them that Annabelle was a demonic entity. The group of friends were shivering in fear. This revelation seemed to make the claim of Annabelle being possessed by the spirit of a small girl seem much better. The Warrens then told them that the demon's main aim was to take over Donna's soul. The group of friends requested the Warrens to take Annabelle away from their house, and the Warrens agreed. They decided to perform some rituals on the doll to weaken the demonic entity, after which they planned to carefully secure the doll in their occult museum in Connecticut, where they housed many more haunted artifacts from their previous cases. While desiring to leave the place with Annabelle, they were pretty sure that the demonic entity would cause a lot of problems on their way home, as it would not like to leave Donna and Angie. But they were all prepared and left the house along with the doll. While traveling back home to Connecticut, the power steering and brakes of the car failed multiple times. The engine kept stalling multiple times. However, the Warrens managed to reach home safely. Once they reached their home, Ed placed Annabelle on his working desk. That was the moment Annabelle decided to show what she was really made up of. The doll levitated and rose above the desk in front of Ed Warren. But the doll immediately calmed down and fell down after floating mid-air. But even after this instance, the activities of Annabelle did not stop. While Ed and Lorraine were preparing to lock up the doll in a safe case that they were busy making, the doll started moving from one room to another all on its own. Ed and Lorraine finally managed to create a safe case to house the doll and called up the priest to perform some final rituals to ensure that the demon doesn't harm anybody. But the priest, instead of coming there and performing the rituals, started to mock Annabelle jokingly and said that it's a mere doll and it was not capable of harming anybody. But moments after saying that, the priest met with a terrible accident and escaped death by a few millimeters. He was gravely injured. Ed and Lorraine then placed Annabelle in a glass case and housed it in their occult museum with a signboard that read, "Positively, do not touch." The doll is still featured in the museum and the Warrens were never able to get rid of the demonic entity attached to the doll. Several years after the death of the Warrens, many visitors have become victims to the wrath of Annabelle. People who joke about the doll in the museum, or those who mock the doll by tapping on the glass case and challenging it, met with untimely death. For some, it has brought misfortune, and for some, severe illnesses, and for some, it has killed their loved ones. It is very important to be respectful to the doll and not unnecessarily joke about it or challenge the doll in the museum unless you want something grave to happen either to you or your loved ones. Decades have passed, and after the release of the film Conjuring, the museum is visited by thousands of people every year, and the demonic Annabelle doll is still housed in the museum behind an airtight glass case with the demonic entity still possessing the doll. This is the story of the most sinister doll on the planet, Annabelle. So that's it for today's episode of The B Show. Hope you all enjoyed, and as always, keep the fire of curiosity burning inside of you for eternity, and peace out.